Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Learn with GRV. So today we are going to do the revision of the company rule from 1773 to 1858. So let's get started. Now when I started this series of understanding the Indian polity book by the author M. Lakshmikant, so from the very beginning I have created videos in a structured format that you can go and refer. So right now we are revising the company rule part. So let me just give you an idea about how exactly the videos are planned. So if you go to the very first slide, and I will attach the link of this Google slide in the comment section. So if you see, this is how the book is actually structured. So as we know, in 1608 Britishers came to India as traders in the form of East India Company. In 1765 the East India Company, which was purely a trading company, obtained Diwani rights, which is basically rights over revenue and civil justice of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, and this started its territorial power. In 1858, in the wake of Sepoy Mutiny, which happened in 1857, the British Crown assumed direct responsibility of the governance. Then in 1946, a constituent assembly was formed before the Britishers were leaving India, and on 1950, 26 January, we Indian gave ourselves the Constitution of India. So this whole period is basically divided into two parts. First is the company rule that we are having from 1773 to 1858, and second is the crown rule, which is from 1858 to 1947. So first we studied the company rule. Within the company rule we had different acts, which we are going to revise right now, and then from tomorrow we are going to start the company rule. So now let's get back to the revision part. Let me quickly go to the slides. Okay, so what we saw in the company rule was various types of acts. So the first act was the Regulating Act of 1773. I have made a detailed video on these acts, so you can go and watch them. Today we'll just talk about in brief. One of the highlights of this act was that Lord Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal. So earlier we had the concept of governors, but Lord Warren Hastings was made the Governor General of Bengal, and the governors of other presidencies like Bombay and Madras were made subordinate to him. Then we had the Act of 1781. One of the feature of this act was that it exempted Governor General and the Council from this jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So in the Act of 1773, Supreme Court was formed in the year 1774, and the Governor General and its Council came under the jurisdiction of Supreme Court, but that was exempted in the amending act of 1781. This amending act of 1781 is also called as Settlement Act of 1781. After this we have Pitt's India Act of 1784. Now one of the key feature of this act was that the East India Company that we had primarily had just one body, which was called as Court of Directors, but this act basically divided its functionality into two. One is Court of Directors, which was related to the commercial matters, and the other was the Board of Control, which was basically related to the political matters. After this we had the Act of 1786. One of the key highlights of this act was that Lord Cornwallis was appointed as the Governor General of Bengal, and he had basically two demands. One demand was that he be made the commander-in-chief, and the second demand was that he has special powers over his council in certain cases. So these were the acts. After the Act of 1786, we have another set of acts which are called as, now these acts are not related to each other. They might be in same color, but they're not like related to each other. They just came one after the other. But these acts are a series of acts which are called as Charter Acts, and the first Charter Act came in 1793, which is called as Charter Act of 1793. One of the key features of this act was that it extended the powers of Governor General over all future Governor Generals and Governor governors of presidencies. Now, if you add 20 to 1793, we get the Second Charter Act, which came in the year 1813. This Charter Act abolished the monopoly of East India Company, but the monopoly of trading in tea and trade with China continued. Adding 20 years to this, we had the Charter Act of 1833. Now, this was one of the most significant act. Reason being that this act gave India this act actually made the Governor General of Bengal as the Governor General of India, which had the powers over all the British possessions in India, and that was the time where all the powers were vested upon the Governor General. And who was the first Governor General of India? He was Lord William Bentinck. Now remember, the Act of 1773, which is called as the Regulating Act, it made the first Governor General of Bengal, whose name was Lord Warren Hastings. The Charter Act of 1833 made the first Governor General of India, who was called Lord William Bentinck. Adding 20 years to this, we come to Act 1853. One of the key features of this act was that Indians were allowed for convenated civil services. So basically there were two types of civil services. One is convenated, which were upper class civil services, and the other were unconvenated civil services, which were lower class civil services. Now in the Charter of Act of 1833, a proposal was made that Indians be allowed employment, there should be an open test, a system of open test for selection into civil services, but that was negated by the Court of Directors of the East India Company. But this proposal was brought into effect in the year 1853, in the Charter Act of 1853, and we also had a committee formed for the same, which is called as Macau Committee. Alright, so this was about the company rule, which was from 1773 to 1858. So we basically had 4 acts in between, 4 here, and if you see 4 charter acts. From tomorrow we will start the crown rule, and then we are going to go in detail about the various acts that were part of the crown rule. So thank you for watching the video. This is Gaurav Singh signing off.